my name is Tzvi Lebetkin. Do you want to have I from another planet? Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you are notified when new videos drop. I tell you, that's just good advice, baby. That's just good advice. I am a font of good advice. So hit the subscribe button. That'd be great. You know who's not a font of good advice? Oh, like anybody advising comic book professionals that were formerly working in the mainstream until the mainstream of comics imploded. No, none of them are getting good advice or indeed giving good advice. They're in meltdown. They're in absolute meltdown. And listen, it's always fun to look at stupid tweets and but it's really important to look at like the psychology of this, which is I just find fascinating, and it affects everybody. It affects absolutely, myself included. Listen, I've found that when people are very much dedicated to a particular idea, a particular cause, when that idea blows up in their face, they tend to get more dedicated than less dedicated, right? I'm as susceptible to this, and it's just human nature. I've been screaming that I think the end of days are coming, right? I think the end of days. Now, fortunately, I put a time limit on that, and if they don't, I think I might just double, triple down. I don't know, okay? But and here's a weird thing, right? I know that's crazy, but I don't have any control over, control. Well, I do have a limited amount of control over it, but that's where my urge is. So that's, that I think this is like a universal thing, but it's just freaking fascinating to watch, and we've got a lot to watch. We've got a lot to talk about. Before we get into it, if I could remind you of the good advice I gave you, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit that subscribe button. We are plowing our way up. We're heading towards 3,000 subscribers again. YouTube hasn't noticed yet. Nobody tell YouTube, but hit the subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, please make sure you're still subscribed. Comment. The algorithm likes comments, and you want to be super, super, super wonderful, go check out my Indiegogo. Now, somebody in the comments yesterday said, whenever you mention your Indiegogo, you always talk about the extras. You never talk about the actual comics. And he's really right. And I think this is a general urge of creators that if you get over it, you're very successful. And it's something I clearly haven't got over, because you look at your work and you kind of like, I think it's a general modesty, which I'm not a very modest person. But you go, let's look at this stuff. It's like, no, the books are freaking great. The books are awesome. So just want to quickly remind you, we have Biblical. It's a 220-page tome. I'm going for like that early Vertigo, like the Sandman, Swamp Thing kind of feel. Swamp Thing was pre-Vertigo, but that's the kind of vibe. It's called Biblical Bible Stories, Atheists, Creationists, Rationalists, and Rogues. I hope this is a book that anybody can read, no matter where they are on the theological spectrum, on the, if you're a normal person, as I like to call you, or you're a wacky religious fundamentalist, much like myself. No, it's very, very deeply biblically accurate, but it's mainly a good freaking story. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. Listen, if I'm going to tell you how to live your life, be nice to each other, okay? That's really, I think that be nice to each other, treat people equally, treat people like you treat others, like you treat yourself, all those things, all those basic things, these are all good. Don't bear grudges. All that, none of that's in this book, okay? But these are all. That's if you want to hear what I say, what I'm going to tell you for how to live your life. That's how you should live your life, in my opinion. The other book, the other way to live your life is buy my freaking comic books. The other book is the Imperium, a love letter to telefantasy of the 1960s, which I do adore. I adore telefantasy of the 1960s. So essentially, it's James Bond, Emma Pill, Doctor Who, the Black Slab from 2001, and a monkey in a spacesuit in one mind-bending narrative. The campaign's done rather well, so I've had an extra 5 pages onto this. Look, if we get a big run at the end of the campaign, which is coming, the end of the campaign is on the way. Then I'll add more pages in. I will do whatever you guys want, and of course we have the extras, the For the Male Gaze cards, 6 fantastic cards based on my 12-year-old titillations, and they're all still extremely titillating, I would say. Again, that's just one rabbi's opinion for you. So anyway, go check it out. Thank you very much. Fine, let's have a look at, let's start, where are we going to start? Let's start with this over here. So Matthew Rosenberg, one of the many insane people who worked in comics who have destroyed the industry. I'm talking absolute apocalyptic wasteland where the industry used to be. They destroyed it, and now it's time to double, triple down. So, one trope of these liberal progressives, more commonly known as social justice warriors. One recurring trope is they need to have people they can obsessively hate, right? They can obsessively hate. I think probably one of the worst things that happen to these crazes is that Donald Trump being removed from social media, right? I think it's one of the absolute worst. I mean, the second worst thing is Joe Biden winning becoming president, shall we say? Winning the election, right? Yeah, winning. That's like, the worst thing that happens to these people is them getting what they want, because then they live off anger. They live off bile, and it's crazy, but it's true. I was watching, your boy Zach did a video about a week or so ago, and he was looking at this Marvel comic, and he distilled down to that what the superhero fantasy is for these liberal progressives compared to what it used to be. Like the fact that the fantasy for superheroes used to be like, people would put themselves in a position, I can imagine being that useful, being that incredible, that you can actually help all these people at once, and you can save, and you can have purpose, and you can you can be, you can look up to yourself, all these great things that superheroes used to be. So because that's what superheroes used to do. What do superheroes do now? They're mainly younger black women shouting at effeminate men, right? That really is. It's normally like Rory Williams, who's like the new Iron Lady girl or whatever, shouting at Spider-Man. It's like, and I'm not making up. This happens over and over and over again in comics. And back in 2017, it was much more than sitting around the house and eating, right? Now it's shouting at white men. They're really into it. Anyway, so the comic book industry has completely imploded, and so they need somebody else to hate right now. So they're just casting the net. See who they'll go for next. Elon Musk. Elon Musk has brought upon their rage. They don't like Elon Musk. They don't really know why they don't like Elon Musk. Like a super, super green energy kind of guy, like trying to do lots of good in the world. No, they don't. So he's hosting Saturday Night Live, and a bunch of the crazes that work on Saturday Night Live, which is why nobody watches Saturday Night Live, said we're not gonna perform with a garbage person like Elon Musk. You really? Like he seems to be. I don't know him, but he seems to be probably one of the best people in the world, right? By their values, but they have no values. So anyway, so this starts off with Matthew Rosenberg, and this why? Where does this come from? Like, I gotta let everybody know how virtuous I am. Hey, at Elon Musk, why don't you fix the water in Flint, Michigan? Rather than going on Saturday Night Live and moving your production from California, where you can't afford to make a living or can't afford to make the plant work, and to Texas with the other garbage people. That's really what's going on in the head. You'll be improved. Okay, now I love the sanctimony in his idiocy. You'll be improving the lives of thousands and millions of people. Would really appreciate you for doing that. Seems like a win-win. I don't know why you're not doing that. So it doesn't feel like me purely pressuring people to spend their money while I do nothing. I would match your donation based on a percentage of our net worth if you wanted. Why? Who cares? Who cares? Now, here's the funny thing, right? Here is the really funny thing. I didn't know this. Elon Musk actually has fixed the water in Flint, Michigan. What's his story over here? It's I did a quick Google of Elon Musk, Flint, Michigan, and you get a gazillion results. Elon Musk is now providing water filtration to Flint, Michigan schools, and he fixed that problem, right? So it's a complete fail. It's a complete fail from Matthew Rosenberg, but that doesn't disturb him. That doesn't deter him. He's got to go for the triple down. As I said, listen. I'm a religious fundamentalist. If the world doesn't end, I may just like triple down. I don't know. It feels okay. That's what it feels like I want to do. Right, so I understand the urge. I do understand it, and again, it's really crazy when you're looking at yourself, and you go, "Wow, I'm planning on being crazy," or I am actually being crazy. That's a bit of a meta way to spend your days. Anyway. So then he goes, dude's coming up and like, why don't you leave Elon Musk alone? Well, because you're utter prick, you're virtue signaling, and you just do, and you're wrong, right? The actual thing you did was like just totally wrong. Maybe I'm being effing crazy here. Yes, you are. Crazy and pathetic. I think more pathetic than crazy. But helping people feels good. Yes. And that's why I wanted to start with this, right? That's why I wanted to start with this tweet, because that's all that really matters. Helping people feel good. And it doesn't matter if you're not helping people. If it feels like you're helping people, it feels good. So let's say there's a migrant crisis at the border. So it makes you feel good to go, oh no! How can we live with this inequality? Because their skin is brown! You garbage person! And they feel good about themselves, right? They don't think about the effect open borders will have mostly on brown people. I mean, just the way it is, mate. It doesn't even flick. They don't. They don't really care about anything other than feeling good. So let's say there's a knife fight going on between two 16-year-olds, right? And the police are called. And somebody is attacking somebody else with a knife, like genuinely happening, right? And the police show up. Now, if the person attacking the other person is a black person, right? If they're a black person and the police uses deadly force to stop them murdering them, it makes them feel bad. But it makes them feel good. It makes them feel good to say, racist. So that's entire. Yeah, well, accidentally he told us the entirety of the psychology of what's going on here. Being appreciated by people feels good. We don't appreciate you. I was saying it would be good, and people would appreciate it if he did a thing. I was being nice, you broken weirdos. No, you weren't. You are vilely virtue signaling, like absolutely vilely virtue signaling. So, I do see this a lot in real life as well. People will be very, very pompous and very, very holier than thou while exhibiting unbelievably poor behavior, right? Unbelievably hateful, poor behavior. So we're going to go to exhibit number 2. Exhibit number 2, Ron Mars. Ron Mars, another guy whose industry has been blown up underneath him by Ron Mars, right? So somebody says to him, I agree with Comic Perch. You Comic Pro should try and talk to people like Bridgette Mike. Yeah, well, one of the most successful bits, that's your boy that. He's probably one of the most successful independent creators in the world, right? In the industry. I mean, in the world. I guess, yeah, not that the world's that big anymore. It will be healthier for the comic community and industry if both sides of Comicsgate and Comics can sit down and have a conversation about the problems. Now, that really sounds totally reasonable, right? Totally reasonable. Like, why don't we just be friends, right? Or why we don't have to be friends? Why don't we just stop hating each other? Why don't we go separately? You do what you do, I do what I do. But the problem is, the Comicsgate people do a lot better than the mainstream industry people, and that makes them very, very jealous. They don't like it, and they got to think of a reason why they're mad. So this guy comes over and say, look, let's not be hateful. Let's work together. Let's all work together for everybody's benefit, right? And then Ron Mars comes and underlines exactly why that's not so possible. Except I don't talk to misogynists. I bet you do. Firstly, I'm really sure that you do. I think it was Alan Dershowitz who says, must be around 2016, 2017, that, the greatest tragedy of our age, one of the greatest tragedy of our age is the moralizing of our political disagreements. And it really is a mandate that used to be if somebody thought, well, I think we should have a more controlled border, immigration policy. People be like, well, I disagree. I think we should be more. No, now it's like, if you disagree with me, you're evil. And that's essentially it. So again, they're just double, tripling down. Kelly Sue the comic. Now, Sue the comic, you probably remember. She famously wrote unreadable comics, Captain Marvel, and was given unbelievable support from the media and the comic book industry to sell her comics, and still failed, right? And basically that's where they're all upset, because they all failed. They had every advantage, like every single advantage in the face of the world, and they failed. They absolutely failed. So they don't really like that, and they don't really like taking accountability for failure. So this is kind of like around about going, I could just go to the last week. Go to the last week. It really just sums it all up. But I do think if the corporations that acquire comic book publishers thought of them more as R&D and IP packages, everyone will be better off. In other words, she's saying, why are you tying my abysmal sales to me having a job? Why, look, you being able to sell your comics is a very important part of the comic book industry. And I would suggest if you can't sell your comics, right? If you cannot sell your comics, you probably won't be able, they probably won't sell when they're made into a TV show. Speaking of which, the pictures I've seen of Captain Marvel, not Captain Marvel, of, was it Marvel Girl? I can't remember. It's gonna, the MCU is just about to implode big time. The Eternals looks awful. Miss Marvel looks, it just genuinely looks awful, right? It's a double and tripling down on insanity, which is what you do, I guess, when you're completely proved wrong, right? I'm looking at myself as a template. It's a good place to look to get an idea of where you are in the world. So why is it important the crazers talk about how immoral the people who oppose them are and obsess about it? Again, it's a simple thing that it's easier to look at other people and imagine they have problems rather than look at yourself. And again, I see this in my life, like generally speaking. So we have the Geek Buzz. Never heard of them. Absolutely never heard of them. They're on this epic Comicsgate rant about, and it was just insane, absolutely insane. So we're going to just read through some of this. I want to talk about Comicsgate this morning. Well, you want to talk about Comicsgate every morning because they're living in your head rent free. That umbrella guy, great channel, recommend him highly, who is a follower of that philosophy. The philosophy, as I understand it, is making comics that that aren't platforming ideas, but are not platforming in agendas, but rather primarily intended to entertain and to have a good customer service. Treat your customer with respect, right? That is, I think, the underlying focus of Comicsgate. I think it probably skews more right wing than mainstream comics. I think because the only way you can get more left wing is if you were, I don't know, member of the Stasi. I don't know how you get more left wing. I mean, if you're advocating for Pol Pot's regime to return, that's the only way you could get left of comics. But probably more. But I think it's more centrist. But here, the truth is, everybody thinks they're centrist because everybody wants to think well of themselves. So anyway, it was a follow of this philosophy. So that's what I think philosophy, just being nice to people. And I think a tolerance of having different political views, right? He's a long-time practitioner of yellow journalism. I don't know what that means, yellow. I missed him online. Followers reminded me yesterday what a vile group of incels they are. So again, whatever they say, they're talking about themselves. Listen, I'm big in the bag for Comicsgate. I've been married since '96. I got many children. Listen. If you ever ask me, would you rather be having sex or doing what you're doing now? 99 times out of 10, I'll say I'd rather be having sex. Yeah, so I am involuntary celibate 99% of my life, but that doesn't mean I'm involuntary celibate completely. I get it. I would like to have sex much more often, like constantly. But I can't do that. So I don't think that makes me an incel. But because Have sex every now and again, and I think most people do. I think most people in comics skate do. I don't think it's a normative thing, right? I think it's kind of strange when people don't have regular sex, which I think he agrees with. But I think the geek buzz probably isn't seeing much action. That's my guess. As long as I take a yellow journalist and carnal worker and seldom write about anything. He was right about the destruction of the comic book industry, if you recall. Of course, like all yellow journalists, this yellow journalist term sounds a bit dodgy. Okay. Here's why I have a negative connection to the term yellow journalist. It was my wife's, who was it? Grandfather, great-grandfather. So he was murdered, right? He was murdered by an African American gentleman. I think you say black gentleman nowadays, right? But there's reports from like the 1920s in the newspaper. I read the report, and it said a Negro, a sailor, blah, blah, blah. But then it said after he was shot, his wounds were tended by a yellow Negro. I don't know what that means. I'm thinking Chinese person, a mulatto, somebody, with with the skin. With the skin thing where you're all right. What's that called again? I can't remember. I know, but like that's where my brain goes when I hear yellow anything. If anybody out there in comic knows in the 1930s what somebody meant when they would say a yellow Negro, I would love to know. I get whatever you can tell me is great. Well, of course, all yellow jerseys. He doesn't care if he's right. His goal is to infect a frenzy over unsolved and created innuendo. This is what this is, right? And follow up saying some outlandish as soon as his previous claims of shelf life expires. Perpetual outrage. Really? You're going on about perpetual outrage? You? Bloody hell, mate. He wants to get paid for it through donations for his rabid fan base. Need only to want to believe in what he's spouting to suspend their disbelief. His target lately is actress Amber Heard. Oh, yeah, listen. I have no idea what's going on with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. I've never looked into it. I'm not really that interested. It seems that Amber Heard beat up Johnny Depp many times and then claimed that he was beating her up, right? And that's what it seems like. I have no understanding, no knowledge, haven't looked at it, because I tried to a number of times. I just don't care. I don't care enough to get through the story to where I just don't care. I mean, like, I'm sorry, whatever went down for both Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Is an extension of his hatred to anything and anyone that represents racial tolerance. No. What you call racial tolerance is racial intolerance, right? Complete intolerance. Marvel has a policy of segregation. Only black people can write for black characters. Although there was a bit of a problem. They hired somebody thinking they were a Muslim, like a Palestinian American, to write a Muslim character, and then they found out that she wasn't, or he wasn't. It was a Palestinian Christian, and they were like, "But what did she look? She talked about Ramadan on the Twitter. I don't know." Yeah, that was funny. Inclusion, LGBTQ rights. Again, how much? I don't understand. I understand. It seems to me that lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, and questioning people have equal rights under the law and viciously enforced by social conditioning. I'm struggling to see what rights anybody doesn't have. He despises these things. Well, I despise the racism of tokenism and segregation. I do. I'm with him there. He hates me too, and sees Anna Heard as a trophy on his. Okay, no, you're like. This is a harder confiscate, a subset of the alt-right again. Now we're in a real rabbit hole. A harassment campaign. What does this look like to you? This isn't harassment, weirdo. Campaign which targets women, people of color, and LGBT folk in the comic book industry. No. Again, yes. Some people he may criticize, maybe women, maybe people of color, maybe LGBT. What happened to Q? What happened to Q, mate? You sound a bit bigoted. But I don't think you're targeting because of that, and I don't think you can demonstrate that either. Folk in the comic book industry, like its cousins, QAnon. Yeah, they love QAnon because it seems to be a bit bonkers to me. And MAGA. MAGA doesn't seem to be quite so bonkers. It seemed to was a much stronger era in American history than we are now, right? And again, just going by the numbers. More kids in more cages today, right? And the cages were built by the people who are putting more kids in more cages today. It's led to threats of violence against people who reject it. Again, this is just utter. I'd love to get this guy on my channel. The movement is led by racist and bigot named Richard Meyer. Again, a citation, please. This is your boy Zach. I listened to his channel couple of years, got his books. I have seen no evidence whatsoever of him not liking somebody because of their skin color. In fact, he's an extremely diverse employer, as I recall, right? And that's what happens. See, that's the truth. That's the truth that people like Geek Buzz really hate. That if you're just normal, if you just treat life normally, like people as people, and you hire the best person job. As we're in a naturally diverse society, you have diversity. That's how you get diversity. And Nazi sympathizer and comics artist named Ethan Van Sciver. Again. Do you know who those naughty National Socialists in the 1930s were? Again, just you have nothing. You have nothing to back up this nonsense. They've been known to refer to adherents of their movement as an army of incels. Maybe it was taking the piss. This goes on forever. They're other than online death and rape. Okay, now we did it. It goes through all this nonsense. Just go look it up. Don't interact with this guy. Don't interact with any of them because they're all bonkers. They're all bonkers. 27 social media post by my assistant Heather Antos featuring several young co-workers getting milkshakes in memory of that was a smug declaration of their complete control of the comic book industry. Yeah, and you did have complete control of the comic book industry right into the ground, right into the ground, and that's what they were saying. Anything saying any of the other is just not true. Antos is described as a diversity hire, unqualified bimbo. It's a bit harsh. What success has she done? What books has she done that have been actually successful, that haven't been cancelled after a limited run? I'm thinking probably not that many. These guys have been review bombing shows. No was review bombing shows. Your shows you just like are garbage, right? I'm sorry, they're just garbage. But again, when your whole world is shown to be false, you will double down. So let's look. We could go on forever. He does go on forever. This is a 19-part tweet thread. Sounds like he's on the obsessed side. To me, it does sound like that. I don't know how you could sell it in any other way. But yeah, listen. Bottom line is when people see their worldview completely and utterly disproved, right? They normally double and triple down on it. They just do. It's human nature, and it's just kind of fun to watch because it does mean the worldview has been completely and utterly disproved. And again, I'll go back to what I said at the beginning. Worst thing that could happen for them is that the former president was removed from social media, and the second worst thing is that Joe Biden won. Became president. Okay, that's what we could all agree. Joe Biden did indeed become president. Okay. Why? Because the world's imploding and they can see it's just not doing it. It's just not going down that well for them. So there you go. A little wibbly wobbly jaunt into the wacky world of comic book pros who say the darndest things. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell so you are notified when new videos drop. Bye.